Hello, Reformers, and welcome to a Halloween special of Zombie Exodus. Now, many of you in the recent past have asked me to read something on the channel, and considering I am generally a gamer, I have decided to combine the two in a game that requires quite a bit of reading. So, without further ado, in near darkness you stand, pressed against the damp side wall of the cabin. Thin rays of sunlight cut through the planks of the wooden wall. The zombies' low guttural grunts pierce the closed door nearby. Your hands are empty, and as you feel around for a weapon, any kind of weapon, your fingertips glide through a pool of thin liquid. You raise your hand and smell blood. Outside, the zombie emits a shrill howl. You wait for what seems like forever. Zombies are patient creatures. Your mind wanders, and you think of months past and how you ever got in this mess. You think back to Zombie Exodus Part 1 and the escape. You awaken in the apartment bedroom, news blaring on the television and the sound of a helicopter soaring outside. You stayed up way too late, and don't remember all of the details, but flashes of moments. Drinking whiskey, chaos in the streets, your sister packing suitcases, and police cars lining up all along the major avenues like makeshift border crossings. You glance around the apartment, hoping to see Emma. Your eyes adjust to the light, but the Jameson whiskey's hangover is a sharp kick to the back of the head. Your mouth tastes like mud, and the roller coaster ride your bed is taking is out of control. You think of Emma. You are her brother. You are Emma's older and very protective brother. You are staying with Emma in her high-rise apartment. A responsible woman, she works as a nurse at a nearby children's hospital, and recently left a long-term relationship, her choice. On the other hand, she is also quite a free spirit, and often takes to random acts of dancing in inappropriate places, dragging you to karaoke night at the Broken Horn Tavern down the street, and hosting a few too many parties, lately that end in a multitude of empty liquor bottles and evidence of other mood-altering substances. You grew up together, never apart since your parents both died when you were young, and the aunt who took custody was never a parental figure. You raised Emma, and she is your family. Let's get on to your profession. You had work today, but who works when the apocalypse is starting? What job are you getting out of? Well, we have a couple of choices here. We have 5 choices, in fact. I'll call my client and tell him my years of military training are not for sale today. And I have to finish an experiment today, but since I don't do hangover cure research, I'll just stay in bed. I should be at the job site ordering around those union guys, but on second thought, let another manager do it. Or I should be up preparing a sermon, but even God needed to rest on the 7th day. And the final is Coach will probably kick my ass for missing practice, but he won't like it if I throw up on the court. Okay, well, I think I like the sound of experimentation, so we may as well do that as we are going to be staying in bed. That sounds like a good plan, especially when there's chaos in the streets. So let us continue on. You have been working for years in the field of gene therapy and have received numerous grants for your work. In addition, you manage a sizable high-tech laboratory for a biotech company. Most of your work involves changing around all the hard work of evolution, modifying genes to cure such things as eye color choice and wrong baby gender for overly rich parents. You are intelligent, have impeccable analytical skills, and can drink 2 pots of coffee without your heart rate going 1 deviation higher. A very vital skill. You fall asleep again and dream of the past few months. In your time off, you had several activities keeping you occupied. What do you dream of? Well, exercise at the local gym. That doesn't sound right for me, that's for sure. Go to the gun range for target practice, take public speaking courses, write a political blog, go jogging in preparation for a marathon, work on home improvement projects, spend time in prayer and meditation, and of course the default answer for me, play video games. Yes, we have to do that. Everything else is relatively good, but playing video games, we have to do that. Why not? Every night is raid night. You played the most popular massive multiplayer online game, World of the Living Dead, and equipped multiple end characters in one of the most intense guilds in the game. Your dreams shift until you recall other things that had your attention in the past few months. Exercise at the local gym, go to the gun range for target practice, take public speaking courses, write a political blog, go jogging in preparation for a marathon, and the rest. So I think we'll go to the gun range for target practice, and then click on the next, yes. Guns have always been your passion, and you carry your NRA card with pride. You practice at a gun range with a variety of weapons from automatic pistols to semi-automatic rifles. As you progressed, you gained the attention of Atticus, the owner, whom you accompanied to a secluded range to fire heavier machine guns. I am assuming that these options are going to affect our stats. That's probably why I went for the gun range right now. And, okay, here we go. You awaken in the apartment. You must have dozed off at the computer. A bottle of aspirin lies on its side with the contents spilled. You happen to see a note on the desk with your name on it. The letter is addressed to... Okay, choose your own name, thank you very much. Yes, I would like to do that. And we will be James. Why not? There we go. What is your last name? Well, I think we'll probably go for James Reformist. That sounds like a good plan to me. The note reads, James, sorry for not being here when you woke up. I am heading out to get some things before we leave. You were sick, so I didn't wake you, but the city is getting worse, and we need to get out. Be ready when I'm back. And that is from Emma, our sister. You awaken to a heavy, nauseous feeling in your gut. The clock reads 8:03 p.m. Emma has not been home in hours. You plop down on the living room couch and flip on the television where a middle-aged anchorman reports. The CDC, via the White House, has just announced over 20% of the world is infected with virus Zeta. Reports are coming in from around the globe of a massive spread of this terrible infection that attacks the brain and nervous system, quickly disabling the victim and, in effect, reanimating the body of the afflicted. Moments ago, we heard from Dr. Anthony Willis, who has treated the infected and state that they show deterioration of the bone and muscles, a yellowing of the skin, lack of fine motor abilities described as a drunken walk, and an inability to speak. Dr. Willis goes on to explain the virus affects primitive areas of the brain and acts as a parasite which rewires the nervous system of the host to take over functions of the body. Infected become aggressive, attempting to bite or otherwise injure others and pass on the virus. This just in, Governor Tate has declared a state of emergency, and the National Guard have come in to keep peace in the streets and enforce a mandatory curfew of 9 p.m. You peer outside the apartment, and from 7 stories up notice crowds of people formed outside. Sirens blare as police vans and cruisers skirt up and down streets, and news helicopters swarm overhead. You remember now, the infection. It was only a few days ago you first heard of the outbreak. Emma mentioned reports at the hospital were of a fatal, highly contagious virus, spreading like a forest fire if the forest was doused with gasoline. The lights flicker and the television set dims and cuts off. Light streams in through the apartment windows, casting a golden glow through the air, which fades in the recesses of the room. You hear movement in the hallway outside of the apartment and rush to the door. All is silent. You wait and listen, pressing your ear to the hardwood surface. Silence. A sharp scratching noise seeps through the ceiling. Once, then twice. Metal scraping cement. You spin in a full circle. The sound comes from the floor above. The scratching builds into harsh screeches, like a fork digging deeper and deeper into a styrofoam plate. The sound intensifies for several minutes and then ceases. The television pops back on. Pictures of infected running through cities across the globe cover the screen. Police and military attempt to subdue the creatures, now called zombies by the media. An announcer describes the macabre truth that infections are spreading rapidly and cautions viewers to stay indoors at all costs. From overhead, you hear a loud thump and a crash of broken glass. An explosion of footsteps rings from the hallway, and several screams cut the air. You think of Emma out in the city. If zombies are running rampant through the streets, uncontrolled by the police, what chance does she have? You need to reach her. There is no landline and your cell phone is missing. She could be on her way back, but you have no way of reaching her from the apartment. Then again, there's nothing keeping you here. You change into jeans and a t-shirt, and grab a quick sandwich and glass of water. After eating, you realize a few items may come in handy should you need to leave, or your situation in the relative comfort of the apartment changes. You decide it's best to take... Well, I am probably thinking a backpack with clothes, food, and water is going to be the best, because that seems the safest, so let's do that. Fearing you may decide to leave the city and be in survival mode, you quickly pack clothes, some non-perishable food, and half a dozen bottles of spring water. One more item is all you can take. The next thing you choose is... a flashlight? I suppose a flashlight would be good, because we can always run away from zombies, but we can't really see in the dark too easily, I would say. A multi-tool would actually be very good as well to get through fences and so on, so I think we'll just go for a flashlight. It's dark outside, and the power is messing up the lighting inside. You hate the dark. You grab a high-powered flashlight and several packs of batteries. Now it's time to make a decision. Emma is a smart and capable young woman, but it's your job to watch over her. You can head out and look for a phone, or just leave the building and find her in the city below. On the other hand, it may be best to learn more about the virus, and you could watch the news or search the internet while the power is on. Well, we should search the neighboring apartments for a phone, I assume. Let's do that. You head into the hallway. Someone will let you use their phone to call Emma. There have to be others still in the building behind locked doors. Finding your sister is your only priority. The lights flicker and cast an eerie glow all around. Power fluctuates off and on. It's silent again. Way too silent. You head to apartment Mr. Connor, Antique Dealer. Well, at least we know him. Everyone else is an unknown occupant, so I suppose we will go to Mr. Connor. You knock at the door, but notice it is ajar. No light escapes the small opening. Static from a television or radio permeates the air. This is Arthur Connor's apartment, an antiques dealer who usually keeps his shop open late in the evening. Your sister mentioned him a few times, mostly to tell you to avoid him at all costs. That's not too good. Arthur is quite old, probably late 70s, and on the one occasion you did meet him, about as friendly as a starving hyena. He won't take too kindly to you being in his apartment without permission. Oh. Well, I enter anyway because rules change when the apocalypse is right behind me. That may actually be the way to go, I think. Considering also the fact that the door was ajar, we may want to head inside, but there could be some opponents within. You ease the door open and step inside. Helicopters outside thrust light through the blinds, creating a striped pattern across the wall of the apartment. You stand in the living room atop an oriental rug stretched across a hardwood floor. Victorian-style couches and a love seat are arranged in the center of the room, with a Victrola on a pedestal next to them. You glance at the old music player with its large funnel-shaped horn and hand crank that spins the record. Considering how it was made in such a simpler, less zombie-filled time. Impressionist art hangs from the walls, and statues of Aphrodite and Apollo stand guard on either side of the apartment's lone exit. You check the bedroom and find a well-kept room in perfect order. A closet full of old clothes pressed and hanging or folded in neat piles. A large steamer trunk with photos turned gray and brown from aging. A scrapbook, and a box with a top hat. A large oak dresser stretches across the northern wall. You hit pay dirt, as the bottom drawer has a Smith & Wesson Model 10 in a case with a box of .38 caliber ammunition. You take the gun and ammo and return to the living room. And this, I do believe, is where we will end this episode off. And next time on Zombie Exodus, we are going to be searching around the apartment ever further and seeing what we do next. So I thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.